Welcome to the Three Moons, Three Souls podcast with host Jacqueline Burke. On today's special feature, we are interviewing goddesses of the moon market vendor Rhonda from Divine Guidance with Rhonda. We know you will really enjoy this interview.
Good afternoon, Rhonda. Thank you for joining us on our podcast. How are you?
Good, and yourself?
Oh, good. So, what I would like to do is start off by saying thank you for being here. And I'd also ask you to tell our listeners what your business name is.
So my business name is Divine Guidance with Rhonda, and I'm a member of the Angel Empowerment Wellness Center,
Oh,
which is
nice.
like a online collective group.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so all of us have been trained under Cindy Smith.
Oh, great.
She's Angel Empowerment uh, practitioner. She's the one that created the program.
Okay.
And then we've all been mentored under her, and then we all have various niches.
Oh, that's nice. Wow. How did you find her?
Through actually kind of the Body Soul Spirit Expo.
Oh, nice.
And
Yeah.
then yeah, that's in Saskatoon, and I ended up winning taking a class from her,
Oh, yeah.
and then it just kind of filtered down.
Oh, nice. Well, it's a
Yeah.
pleasure having you here today.
Well, thank
So
you.
I have some questions about our market life.
Okay.
Okay, so what inspired you to start attending markets with your business?
To grow the business, really like part
Yeah,
of like the marketing aspect of it, meeting new clients and even networking.
yeah,
You know, like
that's huge, eh?
it's big. And
Yeah.
then what's nice being in this type of space, especially like when you're kind of doing the holistic wellness, is even though people are maybe along the same lines, I feel
Mhm.
like a lot of these events are non-competitive.
Right.
Like everybody's supporting
Yeah,
everybody.
that's amazing, huh? Yeah, it's nice to see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, and like I know just even from being in previous markets, like Birch Souls, she does some jewelry. Well, we're combining,
Oh, cool.
and she's doing some angelic infused jewelry
Oh,
for
no,
myself. So it's just so there's a lot of collaboration that
that's
takes place.
fantastic. Oh, that's great. Yeah, it's important to work together, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
mean,
and
the
yeah,
more we do that, the better it is, and yeah, all
yeah,
work together.
yes, exactly.
Yeah. What's your favorite part about being a vendor at a market?
Meeting the people.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of big for myself and kind of like that collaboration piece.
Yeah.
Uh I know like it really pushed me out of my comfort zone actually because I'm very introverted,
Yeah.
so that was kind of an overwhelming piece for me because I've always kind of preferred to be a little bit in the background.
Yeah.
And to some degree I still am, but it's just part of doing it.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like the more you do it, the better,
Yeah.
the more confidence you have.
Absolutely. Yeah, part of being in a service part of a market is you're still kind of on your own in a way, it's but yet you're part of the market. Like it complements each other, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I like that for markets. It's important to have that variety.
Yeah.
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 Um,
And I typically
that's okay.
work like with a front person, like my friend Carmen.
Yeah.
She's usually the one that will like help me take my bookings or,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know,
Well, yeah,
so
like how do you multitask?
yeah.
Yeah, it's important to have a helper, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. So have you always had someone help you at a market, or did you find that it grew to becoming that? Or
I've always seemed to have somebody. Carmen's usually my go-to person up front, but because of our collective, like when we do it, there's usually three or four of us that are from like the Angel Empowerment Wellness Center. So like so I've have done a few markets by myself, but it is much easier to
Yeah.
have somebody to help you out, that's for sure.
Yeah. That's fantastic. Um, okay. So with all the markets you've been to, what is one of the most memorable moments you've had? So it could be like with a client or with another vendor or say the market host or just in general in the day. Like what's one of your most memorable?
Well, that's a good question. I've been to many markets. I tend to like, so I've been to going to quite a few of the small town markets,
Okay.
and it's, I feel that's where less of that pressure
Okay.
is, where that competitiveness is.
Mm-hmm.
It's like kind of that supporting each other. And it's like, it also gives you a little bit of time to do that networking. Like sometimes in other markets, you don't necessarily have time
Right.
to go and check things out. But it's like, so sometimes like what comes up in a reading is like, well, that's not my forte. But if I know somebody else in that market, it's like going referring
Yeah.
to somebody, say, if I'm feeling aches and pains and I'm going and I know a reflexologist might be there, I'll be like, hey, you might want to go check out
Yeah.
this person and talk,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Like it's not like diagnosing
Right.
anything because that's what we don't do,
Right.
but it's just kind of knowing like the different modalities and
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's at a market, it's important to have that time with everyone,
yeah.
like the other vendors as well, to create your community, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
every market you're creating a larger community and investing time into learning about what everyone else does or sells. Because,
Right.
at the end of the day, when you have a customer or someone comes to you and then you know who you can refer them to,
Yes.
it's wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love markets.
Yeah.
It makes me smile and I just think it's such a great opportunity for people and just to grow and connect with like-minded individuals.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, and that's why I'm very grateful, like that I came across yours, and I don't think
oh,
it's by accident
oh,
either.
no.
Like everything, like because I was like, oh, okay, like that, like I got good energy off of it,
Oh,
and
good.
I'm like, yeah, so I'm really like looking forward
Yeah.
to attending. Like,
Oh, good. Yeah, it's pretty exciting. We have
yeah,
some pretty neat things in store, and you know, I have butterflies already, and my butterflies will last like till the end of the year.
yeah, yeah.
Well, I'm glad you're excited to attend. We look forward to having you there.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. Um, so how do you balance, like one question I have for a lot of our vendors, and I feel it's important to touch on is how do you balance your personal life with your market life?
That I'm for myself, they're starting to actually intertwine a lot.
Intertwine. Yeah.
Partly because I'm going back to school
Oh,
for a
good.
social work for a social work degree. So it like very much ties into what I do.
Yeah,
So with
absolutely.
the intention of like right now I can only classify as myself as a spiritual coach
Right.
because of the wording you're not allowed to use. And then like I'll be slowly transferring into like a spiritual therapist or
Right.
spiritual counselor.
Hmm.
So it's like, so for myself, it'll start intertwining
Yeah.
a little bit more where it's kind of working itself in its sessions
Yeah.
in a way. But So like I said, right now it's just all kind of intertwining together. So
Mm.
it's not really separating because I might not be involved in the market, but because of the studies I'm doing,
Yeah.
it's going into that. So like I'm going into my last year of classes,
Okay.
and then it'll be just my practicums after that. So I have about like
Oh,
2 years left,
yeah.
but I look at that as being improvement for my clients,
Yeah.
right? Like there's always like leveling up.
Yeah.
And
Nice.
so there's like two more things after that I'm looking at is becoming a rapid transformative therapist, and that's working like with hypnosis,
Oh, wow.
and then eventually I want to study under Jack Canfield with Train the Trainers,
Oh, yeah.
with the success principle, right? So it's like I do have like long-term goals
Yeah.
in that sense. So this is my passion and this is my joy.
Yeah.
It's just took me this long to get
Yeah.
here.
Well,
And that's okay because that's the journey that I was meant to be on.
right on. Yeah. No, it's nice when you're living like when you love what you're doing, it's not work for one.
Yeah.
And when it combines to becoming your lifestyle, right?
Yeah.
That's what anyone could just wish to have, you know.
Hmm.
And it's finding that I find, finding that go with your heart, what's important to you and following that path and then it becomes your lifestyle and then yeah, it's not like there's no personal time and no business time or you know what I mean? It all kind of
Yeah.
runs into one. Yeah, that's fantastic. I'm so happy for you, Rhonda.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, that's amazing. So you have a 2 year, is it a 2 year practicum or is it a year?
It's called a short term, long term. So the short term is it's like 2 days a week. It just kind of
Oh,
gets you familiar, like, and then so that's like from September to December.
okay.
And then January to April, it's like a full immersion
Oh, wow.
of like where you're, you know, like start in steps and
Yeah.
then work full time and that way and then
Yeah.
doing it that. Like I know like my area that I would like to after my degree is private practice,
Oh, nice.
right? Like go
Yeah.
into private practice. And then kind of where my passion is like working with youth.
Oh, good.
Not to say adult, like I wouldn't take on adults because I
Yeah.
absolutely would, but
Yeah.
I'm an educational assistant and I love working like, kind of with the grade six, sevens and
Yeah.
upward. Like I'll work with all students, but it's
Yeah.
like kind of the middle years, high school
Oh,
is
yeah. That
more
those
my,
are so important, those years, it's kind of you're not a kid, but you're not an adult, and you're, like that
yeah,
preteen, you
yeah,
get kind of lost thinking, okay, well, I'm not a kid anymore. Don't talk to me like that,
yeah,
but you're not an adult,
yeah,
you know. We've all been there.
yes,
Yeah. Oh, that's great. Yeah, that's a great age group to take on and to help and, you know, to help them with guidance for sure.
yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. You're so peaceful to listen to, like you're doing exactly what you're meant to do, you know.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I felt that. And then in a way it's kind of good that it went that way, even though because I did suffer a little bit of depression because I thought I was going to be a teacher.
Oh, okay.
And
Yeah.
and when it wasn't like kind of coming to fruition, because that's all I ever wanted to be since kindergarten,
Oh,
right? Like my poor
wow.
cousin. Yeah, like my poor cousins, like we always played school.
Oh,
Then and I still even remember like clear as day, like grade five, I heard like literally the voice of God, which I knew it was, is saying you're not going to be a teacher.
yeah.
But what he meant was is I wasn't going to be teaching the way I thought. I was
Right.
going to be teaching,
Yeah.
right? So I was like, oh, so I am still going to be teaching, but more
Yeah.
not in the traditional classroom sense.
Yeah. Yeah. That's cool. Yeah, there's so many options out there. Whether
Yeah.
we think it's just teaching as in school, well, you can teach that it's endless where you can teach,
Yeah.
you know? Yeah, that's great. That's fantastic. So where does your inspiration come from? Like who has inspired you the most in what you're doing currently?
Well, that. So the people who I like, Oprah was a big influence as far as like kind of the celebrity stance,
Okay.
and it was more or less her story, like, kind of being poor and then
Yeah.
being able like a self-made.
Mm-hmm.
But like it's like I read a lot of Jack Canfield stuff, Bob Proctor, like a lot of like kind of the gurus in that regard. But I've always had an innate sense of like my passion is working with the angels.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like Archangel Gabriel is the one that it's really I've worked with all my life.
Yeah.
And so like I've just always intuitively known that and
Mhm.
like was, kind of doing all of this stuff. Um and even like doing a mediumship. Like my grandpa passed away when my dad was 16
Oh, wow.
and years later, like I don't know, I know I was about like the story said, like I was about 2 or 3 years old and I was looking through pictures and I said, oh, he tucks me in at night.
Oh, yeah.
Like
Yeah.
they were kind of looking at it and
Yeah.
going, well, he's not here,
Yeah.
you know. So I've always been open and it's but it's really interesting in this because it's just like little bits and pieces.
Yeah.
Like I knew my grandma was very intuitive or like she worked with the angels, but it was like something that wasn't really promoted.
Right. Yeah, different times, right?
Yeah, so then when I kind of like in a lot of ways I fell into this work
Yeah.
because even though I was connected and kind of was openly about it, at the same time I never really thought I would have sat down and say done cards
Right.
with people or something like this, but I know I've always kind of talked about it or
Yeah.
like because I'm sure a lot of people thought I would be in that.
Oh,
Like because coming from a fairly strong Catholic background and
yeah.
stuff, but yet I know it wasn't really necessarily kind of what the church recognizes. But then when I was doing Cindy's class, we did a meditation, and when Archangel Michael told me she was talking about like kind of getting certified,
Yeah.
and I was like, well, and kind of going back to that shyness part, I'm going, I don't even know 20 people to read for because that was part of the requirement. And I'm going, how do I do this
Yeah.
this with my family? And Archangel Michael said, well, this is what you do. And he gave me the layout, and I'm going, oh, well, I can explain that.
Yeah.
And I can explain that.
Oh,
Like,
yeah. Yeah.
so he gave me the roadmap. And then even to get my 20, he's like, this is what you're going to have to do. Like, you have to post on Facebook, which I'm not a big social media person.
Hmm.
And so, sure enough, and he told me I was going to have to do it twice. And so he told me when to post the one time, and I got a few people.
Yeah.
And then I went on a trip to Prince Edward Island. And then he told me kind of shortly after I got back, post again.
Yeah.
And I got finished my 20. Like, so I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it's just like kind of trusting, like and that is something I have always done. and then just kind of doing that.
Oh, like it, I
Mm.
always resort back to the old, what is it, the Fabergé organic shampoo commercial back in the day?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, where you tell two people and so on and so on.
Yeah.
That's what social media is.
Yeah.
Really?
Ex exactly. It's
They were
like,
setting the tone way back then.
yeah.
You
Yeah.
yeah, social media, it ends up being part of the day
Yeah.
nowadays. Like it's
Yeah.
just, it's a staple in everyone's life. And
Yes.
it's how you intend to use it, in a
E-
positive, and I promote positive.
Exactly.
So everyone listening, stay positive on social media.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it's important. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a good way to go. You do attract what you put out there, and
Hmm.
that's important.
Yeah, and that's why like I'm really kind of focusing on like the YouTube aspect of it because I kind of have
Yeah,
a little more control.
yeah,
Like I posted one video with kind of the intention of like trying to do two videos a week,
yeah,
just to let educate people about angels and, but
yeah,
also using it kind of as a marketing tool as well. So you're still
absolutely.
providing value,
Yeah,
to people, but also it's just a new way and in a way, an inexpensive way.
right.
Because like I've kind of tried buying like Facebook ads
Hmm.
and everything around that, and I just found that it just wasn't working. So it's like, okay, it's like
Yeah,
doing that pivoting. And
yeah.
so just kind of go from there.
Yeah, the ads are, I mean, they have some benefit, but it all depends on what you want to achieve from it, right? Like
Right.
whether you want messages or whether you want more posts or more likes and shares or like it's the breakdown, you have to really break it down. Whereas
Yeah.
mine with YouTube is you can put in your tags, like your hashtags
Yeah.
or whatever, and you just kind of let it go, right? And it
Yeah.
does its thing
Yeah. And it's
without purchasing
organic.
the ad. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's organic and people can
Yeah.
find you 5 years from now or
Right
like,
on. Yeah.
so
Oh, yeah. I mean, YouTube is there. It's like a built-in encyclopedia almost.
yeah.
You can search anything and find something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just a matter of putting yourself out there.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like you it's kind of goes back to because one of my big things, a shifting key for me was I was always so like I was anxious and worried as a child, but I was striving for perfection.
Yeah.
And then I heard a quote from Nelson Mandela. He's like, you strive for excellence,
Oh,
not perfection,
yeah.
because excellence is the goal, because it allows you to be your best for at that moment in time, but gives you that reflection that you can do better,
Oh, that's awesome.
right?
I like that.
So it's like that just shifted my like I just remember even feeling my whole body just shifting
Yeah.
in that energy.
Yeah. That makes you stop and think, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Excellence, not perfection.
Yeah. And I actually have it like written out on my closet doors. So every morning I wake up, it's like excellence is the goal.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So kind of everything that you put out there, it allows you to do your best. And what that moment in time, your best is always good enough.
Oh, speechless.
Yeah. And that like even goes back to the markets. Like it's going, okay, what worked this time? What didn't work, right? Like,
Yep.
because your first market, you may not have anybody, and
Right.
that's okay. You
Yep.
just learn. It's like, okay, you see somebody getting attracted, but it's also building that clientele,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, and sometimes you just have to go with the feel of it. Like I know I've been at markets and I think that they're fabulous markets, but it just wasn't
Yeah.
for like the people that were getting drawn to it weren't necessarily getting drawn
Right.
to my table, and that's okay. You send them love and light,
Yes.
but if it's like one market and you're like, oh, I didn't get anybody, I like give it some time, give it a
Yeah.
try, and then you'll kind of know.
Yeah.
And then, because that's also the one thing is who's your client?
Yeah.
Like, who's your ideal client? Because I think where a lot of people get hung up a little bit is they're trying to serve everybody, but
Yeah.
everybody's not going to be your client.
That's
By
right.
trying to serve everybody, you're going to end up serving nobody.
Right. Yeah. You just have to like let it happen, you
Yeah,
know. Yeah. Who's meant to come to your table or, will be drawn there for
yeah,
sure. Yeah.
yeah. And then that's where that collaborative piece comes in.
Yeah.
And that, it's like, okay, we may not be the best fit, but I think, oh, you might actually have a better reading with so and so.
Yeah.
And that's why with the Angel Empowerment Wellness Center is nice because, like, I can communicate with animals, for example,
Yeah.
but there's somebody better and she's taken more training on it. So I can give you like a surface level
Right.
in a way, but if you want to go more in depth, I'm like, well, if you go to Jennifer,
Yeah.
like he can probably help you a little bit more. So
Mhm. Yeah. That's all part of the community, right?
yeah.
Yeah. I love the community. I really do. It's just sticking together and, helping each other, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It just it's wonderful. Um, I just find so much positive in markets, you know.
Yes.
And it's for the community too. Like the community you're having the market in, right? They get to come in and see something that they probably haven't seen before, like some of them, or met some of you that, they haven't met before. And so it's a whole new journey for them too,
Yeah.
So that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, so I have a question here. So now, since you've been to a lot of markets, what are some of the trends that you've seen, like in regards to services? So have you seen any trends coming and going or
Um, that's you still have your staples,
yeah,
I would say, like, okay, so for example, like I'm just kind of going off of readings in that regard, is like you might have your angel readers, you might have
right.
your tarot readers. Um, Like I think where I've seen kind of more trends, which is kind of good for the opening up of things,
Mhm.
is you're seeing Reiki.
Yeah.
But now, like I was just at a market actually in Govan, and this lady, she's doing that spinal flow,
Oh,
which is a relatively new
yeah.
modality,
How
you
neat.
know. So I'm kind of seeing more of kind of more holistic healing
Nice. Yeah.
kind of coming in, like, and then I'm seeing more and more reflexologists and
Oh, that's good.
um but just like even the types of readings,
Yeah.
like there's tarot. This one lady that I did, she does wax readings.
Oh, really?
So like she burns a
Yeah.
candle and it she infuses it with Reiki water
Oh,
and
nice.
burns a candle and it kind of collects.
Yeah.
That was kind of the first that I've seen that.
That's neat.
Yeah, so it's just really interesting like to see kind of what's out there.
Yeah.
Um yeah, so like it's just kind of going back like in a sense where with curators such as yourself is just kind of having those eclectics, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like it's not getting necessarily all saturated to one type, but like a thing. So like an example, I was just invited uh for upcoming market is the Galaxy Psychic Fair. They're coming back in
Oh,
September,
good.
and I'll be like in Regina and Regina and Saskatoon for those ones. But like their core really is readings. Like she does have a crystal table, but it's like she only has so many mediums. She only has so
Oh, okay.
many
Yep.
uh angel readers, so many like so bulk of her like it's all readings, but it's like some might be doing palmistry, some might be
Yeah.
doing tea leaf. Like so it's kind of like going back to the people that kind of run the markets is that the like not that you're one and only exclusive because you want to like because people go off
Yeah.
of people's energy.
Right.
So it's just kind of having the different types of
Yeah.
the modalities and the healings and
Yeah.
everything. And then it's like who you're drawn to is who you're drawn to,
Right.
right? Like, so like when we do markets with the Angel Empowerment Wellness Center, like sometimes like the people are like, well, I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, no, like we tell them, you're not going to hurt our feelings, is you're just going to be drawn to who you're drawn to, and that's where you're really going to get the best
Yeah.
reading from. Not that we're all good readers,
Yeah.
but when you're more open and connected to somebody, you're more than likely going to have a fantastic
Oh, yeah.
experience.
Yeah. Yeah, it's important to for your client to have that comfort level because
Mm-hmm.
then they're going to relax and you'll be able to receive messages a lot clearer for them. I
Yeah.
believe,
Yeah.
and yeah, it's important to establish that at the very beginning. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I mean, not everyone would be attracted to say to having a tea leaf reading. They would like prefer a psychic medium or angel reading or you know what I mean, like just
Right.
something a little
Yeah.
different. So yeah, having a bit of variety for people is important because it's what you know it is in their heart, what they're drawn to.
Exactly.
So yeah, that's
Yeah.
important. Um, so I have one last question for you.
Sure.
Okay. So, now what do you love most about the markets you attend? So, um, now keep in mind, it could be the location, like the venue, or it could be the community itself, like the town they're in, or like what is it that you love most about what draws you to them?
For me, I love reading.
Yeah,
I like the people, but my intention is when people there is either some form of healing, there
yeah,
is either like removing blocks or because like the one of the differences with an angel reading is they're more in the now. What do you need
right.
to know now?
Yeah,
With a little bit of the past.
right.
And the reason why you're going to the past is there's more likely a block or something that needs to get cleared out.
Right on. Yeah.
So that's kind of the key difference. And like I call them interactive readings because I'm going to be asking you questions and it's more for not so much for validation, but going, okay, what's going on?
Yeah.
Um, and part of that is why I was kind of drawn to the social work aspect of it,
Right. Yeah.
is to give you more of the tools,
Yeah.
like because I do have toolboxes in an energetic sense,
Yeah.
but sometimes it's deeper. But mind you, in a market, you're not going to get that,
Yeah.
right? Like you'll get a little bit, but you're not going to have a full session because really they're 15 minutes,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
or 15, half an hour,
Yeah.
right? But that's what I like. But what also I like about the markets is because they're short, it's not a huge investment for the clients. So
Right.
even if you have the skeptics or whatever, which I
Mm-hmm.
am fine with people being skeptic because I
Yeah.
was a skeptic,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
So I totally get that. But it's like that's what I like is in those 15-minute sessions or half hour or however you choose, is you give them a taste
Yeah.
of what it's all about.
Yeah.
And some, are, yeah, it's not for me, or some
Yeah.
me like it. And but what's nice about, because like I've done trade show types, like we go to the exhibition, for example,
Okay.
or but things like what you're creating here, people that are coming to that, like they might be skeptical, but they kind of know what's being offered. It's
Right.
not like there's a lot of variety,
Yeah.
but it's not, oh, we're selling glassware
Yeah.
here, or right? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
there's intention behind the whole
Yeah.
uh market, right? Like,
Right. Yeah, it's important to, put it out there what exactly the market's about.
hmm
So it's gives a good balance, I think.
yeah.
You
So,
know.
and that kind of goes back to that ideal client, right? Like it's
Yeah.
like you're trying to attract people that are spiritually curious, or
Yeah.
like however that looks.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much, Rhonda. I appreciate you answering my questions and being here
Well,
today.
well, thank you for having
Yeah.
me, and I enjoyed doing it.
Yeah. Well, we'll
Like I
have to have
said,
you back and we'll talk more
yes,
about your season that you've had and all the fun and the people you've met. How's that sound?
perfect. Sounds good. Thank
Okay.
you.
Well, thank you so much. We'll talk to you again, okay?
Thanks. Yes, bye.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us at the Three Moons, Three Souls podcast.